Matthew Stafford to the Raiders? Yeah. Not only could it happen, but if Tom Brady gets his way, it will happen. Number 9, Matthew Stafford will be a Raider in 2025. Welcome, football fans, to another BLV NFL news video. In this video, I'm breaking down the rumor that Matthew Stafford could be the next quarterback of the Raiders, and the Rams will be dealing Stafford to Las Vegas. I also want to talk about this whole insider NFL drama that's going on with this rumor. Tom Brady, Matthew Stafford getting together to talk about a potential partnership in Las Vegas. And I want to talk about how Matthew Stafford might actually make the Raiders a really promising team as soon as next season, and why the Raiders are not an unrealistic team to actually trade for Stafford. Because a lot of people think the Raiders have no assets, they have no future, they have no chance of trading for Stafford and competing immediately, but I would argue different. So if all that sounds good, Gronk, spike the like button, and before you do anything, comment your opinion on Matthew Stafford to the Raiders. Do you think it would work? Do you think it wouldn't work? Let me know in the comment section below, and let me know what you make of this entire circus surrounding Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford. Let's get to the rumors. Let's get to the news. This is pretty fun. Okay, so first of all, we have the first report today from Jordan Schultz, the Schultz Report on X. If you guys do want to follow me on X, it's at Mitch Milani, M-I-L-A-N-I. Jordan Schultz, okay, says that the Raiders' minority owner Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. recently hosted Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford at his home in Montana, where they spent time together and went skiing. He even had the specifics that they went skiing. How could this man be lying? Brady has been actively trying to convince Stafford to join the Raiders, and discussions are ongoing. Several teams are interested in Stafford if the Rams decide to move him, with Las Vegas believed to be the most aggressive suitor. Okay, so first we have to believe that Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford met up in Montana secretly, went skiing together, probably had breakfast together, probably had dinner together, probably talked football, talked shop, talked future of Matthew Stafford's career. And I kind of could believe it. I mean, Stafford's been in the NFL for a long time. Tom Brady, Matthew Stafford have played each other a few times. I could see there being a little bit of a relationship there. Tom Brady did cover Stafford in the playoffs as well as a commentator and throughout the course of the season as a part of Fox. So I could see how there would be some ties there. Stafford also did eliminate Tom Brady in the 2021 NFL playoffs, right, in order to go and win the Super Bowl. So I could see Tom Brady having some respect for his game as well, for wanting to bring him to Las Vegas, of course. And I do think, again, just going back to this Aaron Rodgers report and Aaron Rodgers rumor to the Raiders, right? Like, I think Tom Brady, more than most, would be willing to invest in a veteran quarterback because he understands how good those players can be later in their career if they're healthy, they're fit, and they're motivated. And I think Tom Brady, being the guy that really is driving this charge of the future of the Raiders, it really does feel like Mark Davis has given the keys to the greatest of all time. And I think if you're a Raider fan, you should be very excited, regardless of this rumor being fake, being true, being whatever you believe it to be. Tom Brady is going to get this team to be competitive. He's going to steer it in the right direction, and he is making Mark Davis be aggressive. So that is what I would be most excited about. But I actually believe this, okay? Because I'll say this. I believe this despite Ian Rappaport not believing it. I believe it because Stafford did something very similar with the Rams. Remember when he went to the Rams, he was in Cabo and Sean McVay was in Cabo, okay? Does anyone remember this? Where basically Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford were at the same hotel and they met up in the same location and they were both in the same spot before Matthew Stafford got traded to the Rams. And they met with each other and they made it happen. So I believe this because history indicates this is very plausible with Matthew Stafford. Okay, so if anyone doesn't believe this, this could very much be true. Now, Ian says that the Raiders minority owner Tom Brady and the Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford ran into each other at a ski resort in Montana. Ran into each other in the middle of Montana. Okay, sure. The meeting, unplanned, was not extensive or in-depth and did not include Brady hosting or recruiting Stafford, despite reports saying otherwise. Now, this to me here, okay, I believe this report stemmed from this report from Jordan, and basically somebody in Brady's camp, somebody with the Raiders said, whoa, 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 somebody with Stafford, whatever it may be, somebody said, whoa, 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 boy, don't be breaking our news. Don't be giving up our lead. Don't be, basically giving away what's going on behind the scenes. So I think Ian Rappaport is basically shutting it down, okay? Shutting it down. Then next up, you've got Jordan responding to this, and here comes the insider beef, the insider slander, the insider drama, bro. We got Jordan responding to basically Ian, although he doesn't at him directly. He's basically saying, if you really think Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford just happened to run into each other, remember when Ian said run into each other, ran into each other, okay? Jordan says run into each other. He uses the exact same words. At a ski resort in Montana, of all places. Yeah, in Montana. I didn't even know Tom Brady, went to Montana. And I'm a big Tom Brady fan. So, that's kind of weird. I also didn't know Matthew Stafford was a big Montana guy. Right? I thought he was a Cabo guy. You know what I'm saying? At the exact same time, I've got a bridge to sell you. Okay. They were together over the weekend. It happened. Multiple teams are interested in Stafford, and Brady has been leading the charge to get him to the Raiders if the Rams decided to trade him. Yeah, so Tom is obviously leading the charge. Tom is almost the GM. I know that that's not really his title. He is some sort of owner, part owner, whatever, but he is very involved in building this roster. And we've also heard Pete Carroll and their new general manager in Las Vegas, Spytech, yes, that's his real name, okay? We have heard both of those individuals discuss how Tom Brady is heavily involved, and my chair keeps declining here, heavily involved in the recruiting process, in free agency, building their team, building their roster, the draft. He will be heavily involved. So he is heavily influential, especially at quarterback, of course. So I believe this 100%. I believe Jordan. Jordan is a credible source. I don't see why we shouldn't believe him. Next up, we've got Tom Pelissero also getting in on the act because every single insider has to have their own take on this situation. So he says he reached for a comment about the internet rumor that Tom Brady hosted Matthew Stafford on a recruiting visit in Montana. Brady's longtime agent, Don Yee, told me, I know that reporters sometimes make mistakes, but this story's inaccurate. Now, I've never, ever seen in my life an agent like Don Yee, who is a professional liar, lie. I don't know about you guys, but I think this is pretty strong here. Basically saying, hey, we can't be tampering, which this commenter here says, yeah, you can't be tampering, bro. So obviously they're not going to admit that they were talking to each other, guys. They're not going to admit this, okay? So yes, insiders, you can believe what you want. You can report on this just to get your clicks and your retweets, bro. But I believe this. I believe this because Matthew Stafford is a tamperer. And Tom Brady is, for some people, a cheater. So I believe it, bro. I believe it 100%. Now, Warren Sharp is having fun with this too. He says, first, the Raiders hire a guy named Spytech, and then organize a secret whatever that word is, for Stafford with Brady in Montana. What is next? My goodness. Warren Sharp. And then we've got Adam Schefter. He's got to get into the act too. So Adam Schefter says the Rams' first goal is to have Matthew Stafford remain their starting quarterback. And this is from the Rams lens, the Rams perspective from Adam, okay? The Rams' first goal is to have Matthew Stafford remain as their starting quarterback, but the franchise is trying to balance short-term and long-term roster decisions by making their quarterback gauge their value, or his value, basically. Coach Sean McVay said on the podcast with Fitz and Wit. So basically what Adam's saying is, yeah, they still want Stafford to be there, but they're they're basically letting Stafford go about his business in the open market, almost like he's a free agent, and see what he's worth. And then if he believes he wants to go somewhere else and he believes he wants to get the value for his contract that he believes he should get, and a team is willing to give him that and the Rams are not, then they're willing to trade him. That's kind of what I'm getting from this is, yeah, the Rams ideally want Stafford, but they're not going to overpay for Stafford. They're not going to break their back for Stafford. They're willing to let him go elsewhere if that is what Stafford wants, basically, essentially, okay? And so now we get to the portion of the video where we've got to talk about the fit in Vegas. If this is going to happen, would this work? Should this happen? Should the Raiders pursue this? Would this be a good landing spot for Matthew Stafford? Okay, guys. So let's take a look real quick at the depth chart of the Las Vegas Raiders here. And if you guys want to check out who free agents are on every team, Our Lads is a great source for this. I'm not sponsored or anything. I just use this resource all the time. Our Lads' depth charts are very good for this because you see the players that are free agents in green. Okay, so on offense, the Raiders have no free agents that are starters, okay? They have Brock Bowers as a centerpiece of their offense, arguably going to be the best tight end in football for the next 5+ years, okay? You've got Jacoby Myers, who's a really good number 2 receiver. You've got Trey Tucker, who flashed late last season as a deep threat and a vertical threat. So they obviously would need one wide receiver. They have the 6th overall pick in the draft. They wouldn't be giving up the 6th pick in order to get Stafford. You would strongly believe that to be the case, okay? They do have early picks in the 2nd and the 3rd round to maybe make this trade happen. They wouldn't have to get rid of the 6th pick. Maybe they use that on a wide receiver, or maybe they use that on a defender, okay? Because their defense does need work. But when you look at their depth chart, and you look at the construction currently, I love the hire of Chip Kelly. I think he'll be a great hire, especially within the first couple seasons of him being back in the NFL. I think he'll bring some innovative things from the college level, along with what we used to see from Chip Kelly. I'm excited, especially if he has a talent like Matthew Stafford at quarterback. But the offensive line, I think, is one of the most underrated in football. And I feel like it's been that way the last couple of years. Colton Miller is a stud of a left tackle. He's still there. Their only free agents are veteran linemen like Cody Whitehair and Andrus Peat. Otherwise, they've got guys like Dylan Parham entering year 3 or 4 of his career. At this point, he's a good, solid guard. Jackson Powers Johnson, a second-round pick, early second-round pick last year, is going to be guard or center for them, regardless of what they want to do. But he's a good player and a young on-the-rise guard or interior player. Andre James has been a solid center throughout his career. DJ Glaze actually played really well as a rookie last year at right tackle. And we've also seen Jordan Meredith played pretty well, and Munford has played okay throughout his career. So they've got a solid offensive line construction here, and actually a young offensive line that could grow and maybe even improve given Chip Kelly's expertise on offense, okay? So you've got some pieces to work with here. Even Michael Mayer is another piece that you could work with multi-tight end formations. They do need a running back, in my opinion, but I didn't mind the flashes from Sincere McCormick and Zamir White at times in the last couple of seasons. Okay, I'd like them to keep Amir Abdullah. I think he's been pretty good as a receiving back, and that would be nice to have with Stafford. But I feel like they could draft maybe another running back and keep this rotation of running backs here and really aggressively pursue rather a veteran receiver for them. Maybe even try to get Cooper Kupp if they brought in Matthew Stafford and try to draft another receiver maybe early in the first round, or maybe even go after some sort of trade for a receiver. They have so much money. The thing is, the Raiders have $99 million in cap space, which is the second most in the NFL, guys. It's the second most in the NFL. It's only behind the New England Patriots. So they have plenty of opportunity here. And in my opinion on offense, besides quarterback, what they need is a wide receiver. Other than that, if you just added a wide receiver and Matthew Stafford to this offense, I think we're already talking about a good offense, like an objectively above average offense. Now, defensively, you've got Pete Carroll coming in as your head coach. First of all, Pete Carroll stabilizes everything. He should improve this team, improve this culture, improve their overall results because he's a much better coach than Antonio Pierce. Okay, secondly, I like the Raiders defensive coordinator. I think he's a good one. He's even getting head coach opportunities as well and interviews over the last couple of seasons. Now, what I like about the Raiders defense is that they have Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby. That's a great start. Two wreckers on the defensive line. Wilkins will be back healthy this year. Okay. I also like Tyree Wilson, who flashed in his second season and should be even better in his third season. Malcolm Kuntz could return. He was very good 2 years ago before getting hurt last year. We'll see if he can come back. But that's already a good foundation of a defensive line right there. Now, after that, though, it gets a little suspect. Jack Jones has shown flashes as a corner. Bennett, in my opinion, is not very good. I like Robert Spillane. Hopefully they can keep him. They will need linebackers. Potentially, they will need safeties. They will need corners. They're going to have to work on their defense with that $99 million. But that being said, they now have Pete Carroll to help them out in that regard. You know, they've got a new general manager. They've got Tom Brady. This team, if they were to acquire Matthew Stafford, that would give them so much more leverage in free agency to sign some veteran players, to bring in guys like Bobby Wagner and you know, guys like that, right? Maybe Levante David for Tom Brady's sake, something like that, right? You're bringing in like some veteran players. And honestly, you don't really need the defensive line, which is the most expensive position. So you could go out and sign a Carlton Davis, or you could go out and get a safety, Javon Holland. You have enough money to do that. So that's what I'm saying here is like the Raiders could quickly turn around a defense with one free agency period. We've seen that happen very, very often, especially with good coaching already in-house. And the offense is like two pieces away from being pretty competitive. So I believe this rumor. I believe that Stafford could be a Raider because history indicates that to be the case. Stafford has gone about his business in this fashion before. I believe that Tom Brady is an aggressive individual. I believe Tom Brady gets what he wants, and I believe Tom Brady is competitive. And I believe that in a very competitive AFC West that is in many ways an arms race, I think the Raiders don't want to be left behind. I think that they want to be competitive right now because they've brought in Pete Carroll, who's an older coach. Okay, he doesn't have that much time left. They have Chip Kelly, again, an older, experienced offensive coordinator. They have a very good foundation of a coaching staff. They have the foundations of an offensive and defensive line that can be built around with perimeter playmakers on both sides. And if they get the main centerpiece of a quarterback, this team could be very interesting right away. And they play in Las Vegas, a big market, and a market that really does demand winning, does demand respect. It's the Raiders, right? The Raiders, they're not playing around anymore. Like this feels like a franchise that wants desperately to be good. And it's been a long time since they've consistently been good. I also think, just like when Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay, bringing in a guy like Matthew Stafford to the Raiders could potentially change and turn the tide of their franchise and the trajectory of their team moving forward and the culture, right? This is the reason they brought in Pete Carroll. If they were to double down and bring in Stafford, all of a sudden you get some wins under your belt in the next couple of seasons and you start to shift and you start to turn the tide of this franchise. And even if that means overpaying for a little bit of an older quarterback, I think the Raiders are willing to do so because I think they're willing to go out there and they want to be competitive. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. It's Mitch. Thank you so much for watching. Spike the like button and don't forget to comment your opinion. Subscribe for more NFL rumors and news. This insider stuff is hilarious. Thanks for watching. Peace.